What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Christian Marenko, and welcome to Come Talk Sports. Today, we'll be talking about the Denver Broncos and how they're benching Russell Wilson and could see a potential cut from the team this year, which would be sad in my heart a bit. I mean, last year I wasn't a fan of Russ, but this year I love his story. Incredible comeback. And I really hope Denver doesn't part ways, but we'll definitely dig more into that. Definitely dig in how the Dodgers got Yamamoto and Ohtani. That should be exciting. We'll go into the Lakers' struggles after the in-season tournament. They've won 2 games. Not looking too bright for the Lakers right now. And we'll go into the college football playoffs since they start on Monday. Start with the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson played phenomenal this year. In my opinion, I thought he was a top 10 quarterback. He played better than Geno Smith this year, which I bet my best friend with, Jesus. I knew he was going to play better than Geno. But it's exciting to see what Russ turned into this year. Throwing 20 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Not too bad for a quarterback this year. His passing numbers were a little low this year, but he stayed consistent, which I really liked. It just sucks how Denver's willing to move on from him after a bounce-back year. I mean, yeah, he's getting older, but, I mean, hey, he wasn't the biggest problem on the team this year. As much as I hate to say it, Jerry Jeudy should have stepped up. We didn't have Tim Patrick this year. We're missing a lot of key components, and we're just missing some key pieces on the defensive side too. We should have a better pass rush. I'm not saying that our secondary isn't bad, but it could definitely use a little bit of a tweak. Just a lot of holes to clean up this year for the Denver Broncos. So it's a shame that the season had to end like this. I mean, there's still a chance, but a lot has to happen. I don't think Denver will make the playoffs, even though I said a couple weeks ago I got them beating the Lions. They got crushed. They made Jared Goff look like Patrick Mahomes out there. He looked phenomenal. Denver just played like shit, realistically. I'm excited to see what the Broncos do next year, though, and if Russ does get cut, I'm hoping they give the Bears or the Patriots a call about a potential pick, get higher up in the draft. I mean, I know this is not the best idea because I've heard he wants somewhat of control of the team, but hey, man, like I said, wouldn't mind seeing Caleb in the orange and blue in Denver. He's a phenomenal quarterback. He's athletic. He's great. And I think the teams that have those high picks right now don't really need him. Like the Bears, they got Justin Fields, who I've said over the past few weeks has been a phenomenal quarterback. Justin Fields deserves the credit, and his teammates have his back. I think they should build around Justin Fields and get more weapons. Get him an offensive lineman, get him another wide receiver to pair up with DJ Moore, and they'll get it rolling. If you get Marvin Harrison in the draft this year, you're set. You're pairing him up with a veteran wide receiver in DJ Moore, and you're going to get him rolling. Justin Fields will get it rolling, and hey, man, that Ohio State chemistry will kick in. I'm excited to see what the Bears do this year with this pick, and I'm also excited to see what the Cardinals do this year, too, because in my opinion, I also don't think they should trade Kyler Murray, and if they do, I wouldn't mind seeing Kyler in the orange and blue. If Arizona does move on from him, I think the Broncos should give him a call and say, hey, what do you want for Kyler Murray? I wouldn't expect a lot because, Arizona's playing like shit right now. Their wide receivers they're not terrible, but they're not performing to the level they need to be at right now. Tyreek Hill has more receiving yards than all of the wide receivers in that Arizona Cardinals team. It's just embarrassing at this point. But if I'm the Broncos, I'm definitely giving a call to these teams, seeing if we can trade up to get a better quarterback or potentially a better edge rusher or another cornerback to pair up with Patrick Surtain II. Kool-Aid McKinstry would be a great pairing with PS2. I would love to see that. Or, Jerry Jeudy hasn't lived up to the hype. If we can get our hands on Marvin Harrison Jr., I would love him on the team. I think he'll be a phenomenal wide receiver. I think he'll finish top 10 all time. It seems like I'm just glazing over here, but I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he'll be the best wide receiver in this year's draft. I think he'll just dominate any corner the next couple of years. I know his rookie year might be a little rough, but I think in the coming years he'll just be super dominant, just like his dad, Marvin Harrison Sr. Like I said before, love Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray. Kirk Cousins is a free agent too. I think Denver has to make a move at the quarterback position, whether we like it or not. I really don't want Jarrett Stidham back there next year, but it's exciting to see what Denver's going to be doing. I really hope it's something great because this year we had a real shot at making it to the playoffs since the 2015-16 season, and it just keeps getting rough and rough for the Denver fans. At least we got the Nuggets and the Avs, though. Looking forward to that. The Lakers so far this season have been very sluggish. And in the in-season tournament, they looked phenomenal. They looked like a team that no one wants to play in the playoffs. It's just like, all right, looks like the Lake Show's back. LeBron balled out of his mind, getting the in-season tournament MVP. I thought Anthony Davis was robbed, in my opinion. But hey, man, the glazing for LeBron is just there as well. But since then, they've won 2 games. They got crushed by the Celtics on Christmas Day. They had a great win over the Thunder, but since then, they've just been playing like shit. And I'm a little bit worried about this Lakers team. In my opinion, they should get rid of D'Angelo Russell, who they've already benched. He's been a walking brick all season. He's inconsistent. It's annoying, and I think we just need a third scorer, just a better rotation overall, because I feel like the pieces are there. We got Rui, Austin Reeves, LeBron, Davis. I feel like we should give Christian Wood more minutes. I don't think he's that bad of a player. He's better than Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes is all right. He's not great. Christian Wood can shoot the ball, and his defense could improve, but I honestly think I would have gave Christian Wood minutes over Jackson Hayes. But to get a superstar, I would definitely love DeMar DeRozan, DeJounte Murray. Heck, if we can get Kevin Durant, who's been complaining about the Phoenix team, they should pull the trigger and go get one of these superstars out there right now. What is that young youth going to bring you? Yes, Los Angeles, you want that young youth for the future, but you're in win now mode. You have a 38-year-old LeBron James. He's aging. You need to build around him. AD is great and all, but he's also inconsistent, and he can't stay healthy. But when AD turns it on, he's phenomenal. Think about a third superstar that can help those two in the long run. Because right now, this team is just not working. Cam, he's a great defender, but he hasn't been doing shit on offense. Vanderbilt, another great defender, but he can't do shit on offense. This team has just been terrible. We need shooters out there. D'Lo isn't a shooter. Austin Reeves here and there is a shooter. Rui is not the best shooter either. We need shooters around LeBron so he can drive and just kick out, because he knows how to find the open man. He's been getting his teammates open all year, and they just can't hit the shots. We need a shooter on this team desperately. And if the Lakers can make a move for a potential superstar or a better glue guy or rotation guy, then do it, Los Angeles. You guys need to make the playoffs. You're a great team, and I think the only team stopping you in the West are the Denver Nuggets. I don't think any team in the East is stopping you. Dame Lillard, Dame Dalla, and Giannis and the Bucks aren't doing crap. I'm not nervous about Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. They're just going to lose in the second round. And the Boston Celtics, you're probably just going to lose in the Eastern Conference Finals anyways. But yeah, I mean, Los Angeles, they just got to get a better rotation or a third superstar for LeBron and AD. They need to pull the trigger and find out what's going wrong with this team. Or, on all honesty, get rid of Ham. His rotations have been kind of dumb this year, and I'm not a fan of them. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's move on how the Dodgers got Yamamoto. His team is looking unstoppable now. I mean, the salary cap they spent on these two players is over $1 billion. That's just crazy. Ohtani and Yamamoto, the Dodgers went all in. I think they'll win the World Series this year. In my opinion, they just look so dominant. They got Freddie Freeman too and Mookie Betts. Who is stopping them? Yes, they'll lose a couple of games here and there, and they've been choke artists in the playoffs. But I think now that they have those two players, they're going to be so dominant, and they're going to win the World Series next year. And I think they'll keep repeating for the next couple of years. That team just looks phenomenal, and they're going to be dominant for the next couple of years. I'm excited to see what the Dodgers do. I'm excited to see what the city of LA looks like once the Lakers are playing well too. But very exciting for the Dodgers, and very exciting for a Dodgers fan to see the superstars they went out and got. Let's move on to the college playoffs. As I said a couple weeks ago, I have the Crimson Tide and the Texas Longhorns winning their first rounds. I think Michigan's just not a good team in my opinion. They look phenomenal on paper. Yes, they crushed teams left and right, but it's the Big Ten. It's not the SEC that Bama played in. Bama beat Ole Miss, Georgia, Missouri, and all those other teams. They just played phenomenal ball, and those teams are way better than what Michigan played. Yes, they beat Ohio State, but what was Ohio State? They're not something special with Kyle McCord. Yes, we had the best receiver in the country, but Kyle McCord was nothing special. Marvin Harrison Jr. made who Kyle McCord was. Kyle McCord isn't going to do shit in Syracuse, in my opinion. And I don't think Michigan's going to stand a chance against the SEC. They got crushed 2 years ago by Georgia. Got embarrassed by TCU. What's JJ going to do this time? Throw 3 pick sixes? He's such a sorry-ass quarterback. I think I got Bama beating them 49-20. I think Bama drops that team on Monday night. I'm excited to see what happens. That might be biased because I'm an Ohio State guy, but I truly think that Michigan does lose in the first round of their playoffs. On the other end, though, with Texas and Washington, that's going to be a close game. Michael Penix is hungry. Many might say he was robbed of the Heisman. Michael Penix is going to come in this game hungry. And I really think it's going to be a good game for Quinn Ewers as well. He just coming off injury, and he's out here to prove something as well. He was an Ohio State transfer as well. He wants to prove something. He wants to prove Ohio State made a mistake. He wants to show that he's the guy. And I'm excited to see what that game looks like overall. I think Texas will win that game 38-35. And I think it'll be really close. And then I don't know what the championship final score will look like, but give me Bama to beat Texas. I think Saban wins another ring, and Bama remains as one of the best teams in our generation. I'm excited to see what these college playoffs look like, and I'm excited to see what these teams go out and do on Monday. Because I think the one team that needs to prove it all is Michigan. You guys have so much riding on this game. JJ has a lot to prove. And don't get me wrong, I know I said he's a shitty quarterback, but I think if he wins this game, I'll take all of that back. But overall, I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think Michigan has played anyone good this year. And I just think they're going to get smacked on Monday by Alabama. I think Monroe keeps rolling, and they just win a ring for Saban again. And the other big news, Malachi Nelson, the number one quarterback to rank higher than Arch Manning in the class of 2022 or 2023, I believe, but it doesn't matter, has entered the transfer portal. It's exciting to see what he's going to do, because we saw that the number one quarterback committed to Nebraska of this year's class, and that was just crazy to see. Nebraska must have paid the man a lot of money. And I think the team that needs to go out and get Malachi Nelson, well, this might be obvious, Ohio State. Why? If Marvin Harrison Jr. does decide to stay for one more year, Malachi Nelson will have the best receiver in the nation catching the ball for him. And Tarnell Tate is coming up. We got a lot of young receivers that are going to answer the call for if Emeka Buka and Marvin Harrison Jr. leave. We're also losing a veteran tight end in Stover. Who knows if Henderson's going to stay too. We're losing a lot of key pieces, but if Malachi Nelson comes to Ohio State and we give him the NIL bag, I think we'll win the Big Ten next year. I don't think Michigan stands a chance against us if we get Malachi Nelson. I hope he does come to Ohio State, but if he does go to another team, this might be a shocker, but I think Georgia could really use him. I'm not saying Carson Beck's not a bad quarterback, but if you can get your hands on Malachi Nelson, you're in a great spot to win the Natty as well. That's it for me today. Thank you again for tuning in to Come Talk Sports. I'm your host, Christian Marenka. Thank you guys. Have a good night.